Good afternoon. It's August 14th, 2010. I'm in Cleveland, appearing tonight at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the Les Paul Trio. Should be fun. But in the Times today, there's an article about a renegade priest who is leading a split St. Louis parish. He was excommunicated or defrocked as a priest. And then the parish got into a dispute with the archdiocese, and this priest, they don't really call him a priest anymore. They call him Marek Bozek, Marek Bozek, Marek Bozek. Here's his picture. Now, isn't that a sweet guy? Kissing a baby. He makes you believe it, really. Makes you believe that's exactly who he is. Anyway, I'll just read and comment on a few things. Some say he is on a mission from God. Others say he is the devil. Ooh. Two reporters, he's a holy man, who has risked his soul to rescue St. Stanislaus Kostka Church during a long-running dispute over financial control with the Archdiocese of St. Louis. To detractors, he's a charlatan, a disgraced priest who has wrestled command of the parish and ushered in a vision of Roman Catholicism so progressive as to be unrecognizable to the faithful. One thing's clear. Last Sunday, parishioners rejected a proposed settlement that would have ended a lawsuit brought by the Archdiocese and returned them to the Archdiocese's good graces. They said, no, we don't need your Archdiocese. We don't want your settlement. Thank you. We'll go on as we are. Instead, they opted to yoke their church's fate to the portly priest with thinning hair and a fashionable patch of whiskers just beneath his lower lip, like a trumpet player. Bee-ba-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Anyway, sorry. They give the church to the devil, fumed Mary Buck. People are blind. They don't see what he's doing. This is belief in Bozek, not God. That's a detractor, obviously. For more than a century, St. Stanislaus has enjoyed a rare role within the Archdiocese. The parishioners and the people in the church owned it all. And that relationship changed when the Archdiocese in 2003 proposed that St. Stanislaus' property and assets, then estimated to be $8 million, to be brought under an Archdiocese-managed trust. An Archdiocese-managed trust. Fearing that the Archbishop would close the parish and use its proceeds to combat the sexual abuse scandal, the congregation balked. Why, aren't they smart? Aren't they smart? They decided, no, if we let the Archdiocese take over this church, they're just going to sell it and use the money to shut up the people they've sexually abused, of whom there appear to be a few. Archbishop Raymond L. Burke argued that the parish was out of compliance with canon law, and turned up the pressure by removing its archdiocesan priests, effectively denying communion to parishioners. He closed the church. He said, well, you don't give us the church, you don't get any priests. With its isolated congregation withering under censure, the board reached out to several archdiocesan priests. Archdiocesan priests who surreptitiously, archdiocesan priests who surreptitiously conducted Mass. Eventually, the congregation approached Mr. Bozek, not Father Bozek, they say, Mr. Bozek, a young Polish-born priest from the neighboring diocese of Springfield, Cape Girardeau, St. Louis. Springfield, Cape Girardeau, The people of St. Stanislaus have been abandoned for almost 2 years, said Mr. Bozek. They don't say Father Bozek, they say Mr. Bozek, 35, who said his first Mass at the embattled church at a 2005 Christmas Eve service that attracted an estimated 2,000 people. Whoa, 2,000 people. As a Catholic priest, I felt responsible to provide the sacraments to people who have been spiritually starved by their shepherds. They've been more than that by their shepherds, but we'll discuss that some other time. In anticipation of the Renegade Mass, Archbishop Burke, a canon lawyer by training, who now serves in the Vatican as prefect of the check this out, who now serves in the Vatican as prefect of the Supreme Tribunal of the Apostolic Signature. Yeah, I got to read that again. Archbishop Burke, a canon lawyer by training, who now serves in the Vatican as prefect of the Supreme Tribunal of the Apostolic Signature, the Church's highest judicial authority, proclaimed in December 2005 that the actions of the board and Mr. Bozek constituted schism, which carries with it the automatic penalty of excommunication. So they're all out anyway. So what are they worried about? They've been automatically excommunicated. The Archbishop added that as an excommunicated priest celebrating Mass, Mr. Bozek would commit a most grave sin. Okay. The Vatican has since affirmed Archbishop Burke's order of excommunications, and last year Pope Benedict XVI formally laicized, it says L-A laicized, can't be right, formally kept Mr. Okay. And last year, Pope Benedict XVI formally prohibited Mr. Bozek from functioning as a Roman Catholic priest. You're out, you're finished, you're over, it's done. Besides, Archbishop Burke, who is the prefect of the Supreme Tribunal of the Apostolic Signature, says you're out. So you got your problems, buddy. But let me be very clear, I'm crazy about you. His actions have caused great harm, scandal, and sadness within the Church. Bishop James V. Johnston of the Springfield Cape Girardeau Diocese said, Girardeau. Gerard Depardieu, was that his name? The French actor Gerard Depardieu. He wrote this in a statement announcing the Vatican's decision. While Marek Bozek no longer has the status of a priest, I continue to hope for his reconciliation with the Catholic Church. Well, buddy, nevertheless, Mr. Bozek continues to preside over the holy sacraments at St. Stanislaus. Page A13. This is good. I like this. I like all this. Dressed in gleaming green raiment, R-A-I-M-E-N-T, raiment. Raiment. Everybody loves raiment. Dressed in gleaming green raiment, R-A-I-M-E-N-T, raiment. He baptized a child on a recent Sunday, and he boasts that under his stewardship, the church's membership has swelled to roughly 500 families. That's good. That's good. I do not acknowledge the validity of the penalties. Everybody says that. I was born Catholic, I am a Catholic priest, and I don't believe that one piece of paper signed by one human being undoes my priesthood. Unless it's the Pope, which it was. Oh well, that's okay. I agree with, I like Mr. Bozek myself. In the subsequent years, Mr. Bozek has become increasingly vocal for a more progressive Catholic Church. I guess so. In 2008, he presented parishioners with what he called his vision, which includes the right of priests to marry and that of women and homosexuals to become priests. Allowing priests to marry, what'll that lead to? And that of women and homosexuals to become priests. You know, here comes the start of a new religion. This is how they start. This is how Lutheranism starts and Episcopalian. It's going to be Bozekism. I can see it. He has opened our eyes, says Melissa, Kierkegaard's 35. His vision is what we perceive as the future of the church. He's going in the direction I want to go as a Catholic. For many others, however, Mr. Bozek's views have become too much to tolerate. He has his own agenda, said Gregorz Kutuniak, 53, after the vote. He's not a priest anymore, but he's fooled everyone. Why are we even talking about religion? This is about property, but he makes it about religion. Yeah, well, at least you've got your property. Though Mr. Bozek says church membership has grown since his arrival, about 200 families have stopped attending the church since the dispute first arose. Oh, well. In 2008, Mr. Bozek cast the deciding vote to dissolve the board, which was later reconstituted with a majority of members who supported him. Oh, politics and St. Stanislaus. It's been hellacious, said Robert Zabielski, a former board member who is now a plaintiff with the Archdiocese. Yeah. He added that somewhere along the line, the question had ceased to be about power and money and was now about the man. But religion loomed large last Sunday as parishioners weighed a draft settlement put forth by the new Archbishop of St. Louis, Robert J. Carlson, that would have allowed the congregation to maintain control of the church's property and financial assets. The settlement provided no guarantee, however, that the parish would remain open. The Archbishop would have final say in the appointment of new board members, and significantly, Mr. Bozek would leave the church. So these people just want a nice little church in their community, and Father Bozek is there, Mr. Bozek is there to run it, and he's a progressive. Well, what do you expect? He's not going to buckle down. Could be the start of a new religion. Look out. After the vote, 257 to 185, to reject the proposal, Archbishop Carlson said he was disappointed with the outcome, but remained committed to working toward its resolution. I'll bet you are. Still, many parishioners said they did not believe future archbishops would honor any agreements. I don't trust the archdiocese, Patrick Schneider said. I've witnessed how it's closed other parishes. All they needed to do was bring somebody down to speak. Instead, they sent lawyers. Mr. Bozek said he was prepared to leave if the congregation had accepted the archdiocese offer. Ooh, playing hardball. The only reason for my coming to this parish was because they were abandoned by the shepherds for almost 2 years without sacraments and without mass. I have fulfilled my role, I believe. I believe he has. But congregational people are congregants. Like, that's how, people don't use that word when they talk to each other. Oh, the congregants said. It's in print, it looks okay. But congregants like John McCall said they were not willing to accept a settlement at this point that did not include Mr. Bozek. The man is the face, said Mr. McCall, 76, who voted against accepting the settlement. I'll follow Father Marek wherever he goes. I told him, don't stop fast because I'll run right into you. And he's the only time that Mr. Bozek is called Father Bozek or Father Marek. Marek Bozek. I'm all for you, man. I'm all for you. Do it. Just do good.